there's a tremendous stigma with addicts. I had a case 2 years ago where father came to me and he said, can you help identify who gave the drug sold to my son? He had overdosed on fentanyl. Within a week, we had the dealer, we had a tape conversation. I go to the police and they say, listen, I've got a folder full of these same cases. We can't chase them all. So we had the guy's phone number on tape, identifying himself as the one that sold the drugs, and the police didn't want to pursue it because they have too many of these cases. My daughter, Cristina, who's with us, can tell you what happened in the case of Stephanie when she was found dead in a hotel room for an overdose on fentanyl and what the police told her.
So Stephanie's my twin sister, his daughter. And so at the time, my dad, who's a private investigator, he had placed a tracker on her car because he was going to be out of town. And there was something that seemed off about her that week. And so when at the hotel, when I went to the hotel, I said, look, sir, we do have, he offered me her cell phone. And I said, well, don't you want to keep it? I said, because in addition to her cell phone, we actually have a tracker which has all of her pinpoints and so forth. And he said, well, ma'am, with all due respect, your sister has been a drug user now for off and on, more or less 16 years. And at the time, it didn't really register to me because I wasn't even thinking. And then after the fact, when I got the brown evidence bag because they wanted to look at her journal and such, it said homicide. And so I was thinking, when I saw that, boy, so you thought it was a homicide, and then you realize, and then you just didn't care. So with all that said, the bottom line is that, he said, she's been an addict, for a long time. So just really disregarded her. Had that been his daughter or somebody close, I'm sure that would have been different, but.
Right. I mean, it really shouldn't be a concern who the person was. I mean, I completely get that and understand. I mean, that goes back to, there used to be that a prostitute couldn't be raped.
Right.
Right. To make an analogy.
Right.
And it really doesn't matter. And really in criminal, I'm kind of surprised to hear that the officers would say that, because it doesn't matter who the person was prior to that day. It really doesn't, and it shouldn't. I will tell you, as criminal defense attorneys, we always try to bring up the person's past,
right,
to sort of dehumanize.
Understand.
But it's kind of shocking to hear law enforcement taking that same path.
This is the norm, Representative Gottlieb. This is the norm. This is what's going on. I can't tell you. We're in the process of creating a documentary. I can't tell you how many parents have contacted me with the exact same story. This is they want to go after the big cases, but it's not the big dealers that are killing everyone.
So I don't understand. Do you like Bacon's bill or you don't like Bacon's bill? Because I voted up on it yesterday. I like it. And I got yelled at by some other Democrats for voting up on it, but I'm going to stay up on it.
No, we like the bill, but what I'm saying is that there needs to be something relating to the police doing their job when they get these cases. Now, in my letter to you, I said, listen, I have a suggestion. If in fact it's, because they all say the same thing, it's resources. We don't have the resources. Resources are equal to manpower. You don't have the manpower. I understand that. In Stephanie's case, it was Miramar Police Department, small department. Well, then why not? I work with a slew of ex-law enforcement officers who are now private investigators, ex-homicide detectives, ex-drug enforcement agency officers. Then why can't the district attorney's office outsource these cases, because they don't have the resources, to guys like that? They can do it cheaper. They can do it quicker, and
I don't know if they can do that legally. If they can outsource their law enforcement,
no, it would have to be a change in the law. They would need to. There's no incentive for the police representative to do what we're saying, and I know that there's these And now with fentanyl in play, people are dying all over the place. But
well, listen, you have a new sheriff in Broward County. You have a new state attorney in Broward County. Have you met with them? Because the sheriff. So for a lot of the smaller agencies, the sheriff investigates the homicides. And it that depends, especially, I don't know Miramar. Miramar, I think, does their own homicides, but, it used to be like Lauderhill BSO would do the homicide investigations. So, what I think you should do, because trying to get the legislature to be responsive to a concern like this, when it seems like it might be more of a localized concern, I think you're better off going and talking to the sheriff and saying, look, we have a drug epidemic, which I think Sheriff Tony is probably, amenable to listening to that, and saying, here you guys have some laws on the books that you're really not utilizing. And I'd be happy to facilitate that conversation or have that conversation. And I'll just tell you something about me that